Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Eyes on Pawtucket. You're watching the Coalition Radio, and don't forget to go to their page, the Coalition, and click like so you can keep up with all the other information that's going around statewide. Lots of information going on, lots of interesting talks going on with all the other hosts that air on the Coalition. I want to shout out Pat Ford. He's a busy man all over the place. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to provide our communities with information that they look forward to hearing and seeing. Um, you're watching Eyes on the Pawtucket, like I said. Don't forget to go and click like on our page so that you know when we're on and so that you can join the conversation. And don't forget to get your Eyes on Pawtucket t-shirts. We'll have probably some hoodies coming up soon or some sweatshirts. And I know that a few people have ordered a few. All of you have your Eyes on Pawtucket, so you can all represent the show. And don't forget, you can also go to YouTube and find the Coalition Talk Radio and definitely support him over there because that's very important to help him get some support that he needs to keep everything going for the rest of us. So I'd like to introduce Lynn Ferrinelli, who's my co-host again today. Thank you all who joined us last Sunday for the show. It was very interesting. We got a lot of views. We do have a lot more information for this week that will also give you more information, goes along with some of the information we was talking about on Sunday. So I'll let Lynn say hello, and then we'll talk a little bit about the political scene here in Pawtucket, and then we'll get into all the other stuff. So what's up, Lynn?
Well, a lot, but for tonight, I think that we're going to keep it to like maybe three subjects that are important to us this week. Uh, I appreciate everybody that's watching. I know some people were waiting for us to go on tonight. Looking forward to what we had to say or any follow ups. And, there was that election yesterday, and I know that that's probably where we're going to start off. Christine has some information on that. And I'll let you start, Chris.
Yeah, I want to say hello to everybody who's watching. Hi, Cameron. He's usually the first one on. Cameron shares all of our information, and he really does pay attention to what's happening in Pawtucket, and we really so appreciate his support. Sean Gannon, he's another one. There's so many people that just are helping us continue what we're doing. Because the more people that we get informed about what's happening here, the better. I wish we can get a lot more voters, though, to be on here to pay attention a little bit because we don't like to sway anybody one way or another. However, Pawtucket politics is so um, special. Let's just say special, and I kind of don't mean that in a good way, but I know that a lot of people have jokes saying that politics in Rhode Island is a hot mess, but let me tell you, there's nothing worse than what happens in Pawtucket. Um, so we'll talk a little bit about yesterday's special election for District 6, and then we'll get into some of the other police stuff and what's been happening with that. And I know Lynn has a lot of information with what's going on there. We had a special elections for different District 6 yesterday. That was Tim Rudd's seat. Tim Rudd has been respected and loved by the community for so long, but unfortunately he moved out of Pawtucket, so it left the seat open. For those of you who don't know politics too well or understand it a little bit, but if you're a voter, you should know, especially if you're a voter in Pawtucket, okay? You should know that right now the city council, we like to say it's 4-4. There's 9 seats altogether, but with Tim's seat being open, what happened was there was pretty much 4 votes that lean more to community, um, kind of community favorable, let's say, and then there was like 4 votes that were favorable to the administration. So this extra seat, this ninth seat, was actually extremely important to both sides. Okay, um, so luckily we had two very good candidates running. Okay, one was Marlena, who had ran against Tim Rudd the last go round. She did well. She couldn't take out Tim Rudd because Tim's always had a very strong foundation. Um, Another candidate was Patricia St. Germain, who's been very, very vocal when it comes to the transfer station and so many other issues in the city. She really understands District 6. So, there's this thing that I like to tell people that because you know someone, because you're friends with them or you went to school with them, doesn't make them necessarily the best political candidate or the best person for a council seat, because they don't really understand the issues that really impact the community. So with that being said, two great candidates who would have done fine and dandy on their own, may the best woman win, and that's how everyone expected it to be. However, our mayor likes to be a puppet master, and I'm not saying that just to bash him. I'm saying it because as of yesterday, everyone should understand that by now. If you don't understand it by now, you're being blind and deaf. You don't want to know it. Um, the mayor um, invited himself into supporting one of the candidates. Now, let me break this down for some of you who don't know. Is that when you're a Democrat, technically, especially if you're a politician and you're a Democrat, you're supposed to actually follow the Democratic Party and stay loyal to your Democratic Party. The mayor has often been known to bully any politician, any councilman, any state rep who goes out loud and supports someone who has not been endorsed by the Democratic committee for that city. So the Democratic committee has often, if not all the time, backed up and endorsed the person the mayor wants. Okay, so you guys have to understand that. They've almost always backed up the person the mayor prefers, which we've noticed for a long time, and we pointed it out the last District 6 election. Um, so the mayor gotten pretty used to getting his way. So once the person was endorsed by the city, then he can openly support them and pressure everyone else to support that person. However, there's been a few times where a city council man or woman would support the person that wasn't endorsed. They would immediately get pushed off to the side by the mayor and everyone else, including the council, and have a talk to. That's not what you're supposed to do. You can't go against the endorsed party, the endorsed person, because you're going against your whole party, and that doesn't look good. So it's politically incorrect to do so. We know that now. But it's very disturbing and hypocritical of the mayor to do just that. It's his rule not to not to support the person who wasn't endorsed. However, in this District 6 race, the city Democratic Committee endorsed Patricia. The mayor decided he was going to support and use all resources available to support Marlena, the person that was not endorsed. Now, let me just continue to make this clear, people. Marlena could have possibly won on her own. She did not need the mayor's support. She did not need all of this stuff going on. However, I'm not even sure if she allowed it, wanted it, or anything when it comes to the mayor's support because it it probably hurt her more than help. But who's going to say no to the mayor? You'd be crazy to do that. So of course the mayor took it upon himself to have city employees canvassing for her. As of last week, there were several seen canvassing for her, knocking on people's doors, picking up mail ballots on behalf of both candidates, which was very unusual. Why would you want to pick up a voter's registration or a mail ballot or an emergency ballot for the other person? It doesn't make any sense unless you're trying to make it disappear. But anyways, I don't want to get off course and I don't want to bore anybody, but he took it upon himself to not only did he support the non-endorsed candidate, he had a group of other politicians do the same thing. Sandra Cano, Carlos Toban, John Barros, Azant, the senator for my district, Arujo, and let me make this clear: Arujo from Providence. I don't believe it was the one from Pawtucket. He had all of these politicians, Democratic politicians, helping him to support her, including the mayor for the former mayor of Central Falls. Um, that's very disturbing if anybody understands politics, and if you vote, you need to understand this, that when you have that many politicians following something that's politically incorrect, you have to wonder what they stand for. Uh, if their integrity means nothing to them, that they would just blindly follow the mayor into something he's doing that's wrong, politically wrong, and the audacity of all of them to think that nobody was going to notice. The sad thing is, nobody did, right? Nobody really caught on to it. The mayor did stand outside of one of the polling places longer for this candidate than he's ever even stood for himself. He stood out there for 4 hours. He was not holding a sign and he was not wearing a t shirt. Therefore, if anybody who knows politics really well came by, they wouldn't know who he was standing out there for. People were assuming he was standing out there because one of the candidates was obviously endorsed. However, he was not standing out there on behalf of the endorsed candidate. He was there for the opposite candidate. And why this is all important is because if a person could have won on their own and you've like forced yourself to support that person, you had city employees working on this person's campaign. It doesn't get any more dirty than that. Our tax dollars was helping him with his agenda, and his agenda was politically incorrect. So we were all used for whatever he needed. So I said this earlier on my Facebook. I'm going to say it again. We thought there were two candidates for this seat. In reality, my people, there were three. If you really look at it, the mayor was also a candidate because this seat now belongs to him. It does not belong to the person who won. This seat belongs to the person who paid for it. The mayor paid for the seat, and the person who won now owes him because he got her the seat. How can we trust her to make the right decisions if she owes him? She's not going to be able to not give him what he wants because she didn't win this by herself. Had she won it by herself, she wouldn't owe anyone. But now she owes the mayor this. You know, she won by a lot only because the mayor helped her. She could have won and won by a little bit less, but um I don't know if she was okay with this. I mean, obviously she couldn't say no to the mayor's support. That would be stupid. However, what he did was take over her campaign and ran it his way and it became his campaign. So technically he was the candidate. And there was a lot of stuff that I saw yesterday. Usually I work with the polls, but I'm outside. And for the first time yesterday, I was actually a poll watcher inside. And I learned a lot about what could happen inside. And it's not pretty, my people. Um, I understand there was a low voter turnout, and I don't blame anyone for that. You know, I would like to say shame on people who stayed home and didn't vote, but I can't blame them because if this is how this city operates, it's very discouraging for any voter. Because sometimes it doesn't matter. You know, you can mail in a ballot, it might not get counted. I saw so many people get turned away, being told that they weren't showing up, and it could have been just a glitch. A phone call could have fixed it. But depending on who they were voting for, most of the people that were voting for Marlena was coming in with little pamphlets in their hand, so it was obvious who they were voting for, and they were getting phone calls and helped out on how to vote. They were actually saying out loud, well, the mayor called me and he's standing outside, so I'm here to vote, and things were being called in and straightened out so they can vote. Now, those who weren't so obvious about who they were voting for were just being told, you can't vote here today and go to City Hall. You're in the wrong location. A lot of just different things that I saw yesterday that I really can't blame anybody for being discouraged to vote because it's almost like our voices don't matter. At the end of the day, this seat was very important to both sides, the community and the city, which I think the community and the city should be working together. But unfortunately, the city looks at it like the city versus the community. That's very disturbing, but that is what it is. I think that was what I just wanted to say for today. Before we get into anything else, is that elections are coming up again next November. I don't want anyone to be discouraged from running because of how dirty Pawtucket politics is. I think we need to keep on pushing it because, he was pretty much very nervous about losing the seat. Um, However, too many people who don't understand politics fell for his tricks. He knows, and if he signs their paycheck, he could get anybody who works for the city to do whatever, whether they're from the city or not. They don't understand what this meant to the people who live here, to the people who pay taxes here, to the people who vote here. So when you have employees that don't live in the city being forced to work as a campaign or a canvasser or a campaign pusher or whatever you want to call them, it's very disturbing for us that live here because he used every resource. He did robocalls. He had city employees and people who run organizations that he gives money to. He had them pretty much being a taxi or an Uber driver, picking up elderly at the elderly housing and bringing them in. There's nothing wrong with that, guys. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing wrong with that is that it's the mayor using city employees to do it during the day where they should have been working for the city. That's what's wrong with it. What's wrong with it is using people that couldn't say no to him. There's a difference between someone who volunteers to help a campaign, volunteers to support a candidate because they want to, rather than having to because your boss is telling you you have to. Big difference, people. And I know, there can't really be too much opposition to what I'm saying. Um, I know a lot of people don't like me pointing things out. I don't seem like the proper person to be pointing this type of stuff out. But let me just tell you that when it comes to Pawtucket politics, I don't know anybody who knows it better than I do. I've studied it. I've been around it too long to know the dirties and everything that happens in between. And I've never seen it run as dirty as yesterday. It was very disturbing. So I'm gonna end this part of the conversation with congratulations to the winner. Congratulations to Marlena. Um, but if I tell you I say that genuinely, I'm lying because I think a congratulations would have been genuine if she won it on her own. I feel bad for her because she won. She really can't really enjoy it the way she should have because she's now got her hands tied. She's now a slave to the administration. She works for the second floor now. She's not working for the community. And a lot of things that she's going to be voting on and giving the mayor a yes is going to really set some people off here. And she's not going to be a favorite, I can tell you that, because she's not going to be able to just be herself. And I'm going to end this by saying the same thing she's done with the chief of police by forcing her to be the public safety director too, so she's her own boss. Her hands have been tied for a very long time, and now she's looking mighty foolish with a lot of the shenanigans that goes on in the police department, starting from the top. When I say starting from the top, I don't mean the chief. I mean the mayor. The mayor controls everything in the city. Okay, he's the master. He's a dictator, and the police department is such a hot mess because of him. Um, Along with some other politicians that I can name, Sandra Kano could never do right by the minority community because also she was bought and paid for by the mayor, and there was so many things that she couldn't do. Carlos Toban, same thing. John Barrows, same thing. They can't even say the word minority because it's going to piss him off. When do you see a minority candidate not able to just represent themselves and their community or do anything for their community unless the mayor says it's okay? We really need to stop paying attention to that, guys, because it's scaring me that we have so many voters that didn't catch on to the fact that the mayor was indeed supporting the unendorsed candidate. There's something so wrong with that. And he was publicly announcing this. He went on the Valley Breeze and said it. Nobody in his party has come out and said there's something wrong with that. Nobody from the state has, anybody from the Democratic committee or the state, no one is saying anything about it. Well, I am. I'm going to say something about it, and no one can correct me. It's politically wrong. He knew he was doing wrong, and he openly doing it. What else could he be doing then if he can get away with something like this? And then have at least six other Democratic politicians following him. So what is this? Monkey see, monkey do? None of these politicians should be voted in again, my people. They shouldn't even be voted in again. They can't be trusted to be their own person if the mayor did something that incorrect and they followed suit. Please start to question these things. That means they work for the mayor, not us. They don't even care to keep their own integrity in line, guys. You know, when you work for any boss in any company, there's an HR office that you can report any boss trying to get you to do something immorally correct or against your values or against your beliefs, right? It's the same thing with politics. You can't allow a mayor or anybody to make you do something that's going to put your integrity and your values and your beliefs on the line. But who do you report to? That's the question. So we're watching all of this go down, and a lot of you are looking pretty foolish right now. I have to point that out. And anybody who cares to try and challenge me on that one, please feel free. If you have a way to correct what I'm saying, feel free. The only problem is there is no correcting it. And this is why people disengage from these types of conversation with me. But if you're a voter in Pawtucket and you're not paying attention to these things, I know every vote matters and we tell people get out there and vote no matter what. It's starting to matter because we're stuck with this train wreck of a guy who can actually convince a senator, two state representatives, um, actually two senators, a state representative, and God knows who else to follow him on a decision he's making that was politically incorrect. That's embarrassing for the entire state. But if no one wants to notice it, that's fine. I don't want to hear anybody complaining as to why we're dealing with some of the nonsense in Pawtucket. We're dealing with it because those here in Pawtucket won't fix it and won't even bother to notice it. And it makes them uncomfortable when I say it. That's the problem. Forget that I'm saying it. Go pay attention to it yourself then. And you'll find yourself agreeing. You don't have to agree in my face. You don't have to agree out loud. I just hope that you find it in your heart and in your mind to go and figure out what's going on before you cast another vote in this city because we are going backwards fast. So I'm going to leave you guys with that political issue right there. And if you have any, comments, I see some comments going up. I've been talking, so I'll go back and look at those while Lynn is talking, and I'll try my best to answer them. And we'll go from there. So, Lynn, it's all yours, girl.
Okay, I wanted to add, when there's all this shady going on, that's when you really stop paying attention. And I know that Eyes on Pawtucket is going to have their eyes on District 6. We're going to watch to see, and we will be calling out any voting that is not beneficial for our area. And I don't know that it was a good win for her when shady went on and people know about the shady, and especially with people like Christine and myself, we're definitely going to be keeping an eye to see what direction certain voting goes with if it's always the yes for the yes man, then we're going to have a problem with that, and we will call it out. And we have this show, we actually have some other media as well, and our Facebooks are very active. So you know is it a win? I don't know. I'm going to have to wait to see how she acts or reacts to situations in the Fairlawn area, especially with the transfer station, and see if anything moves on that. And I hope that she doesn't undo some of the good work that has been done here. And I know Patty St. Germain, and she's a good woman, and she's constantly been fighting for the community and the taxpayers. And I feel bad that she didn't get to see this. There's another election that's going to come up, and hopefully
Right.
things can flip a little bit. But
I'm
just
gonna add, I'm gonna add just a little bit more to that, Lynn, because you said something very interesting that you hope that it's a win, and you hope that she's going to do right by the community. Let me just put this out there for anyone who lives in Fairlawn and Woodlawn area. Patty St. Germain had fought long and hard to put a hold on this um, transfer station situation. Okay, now, if for those of you who don't know what that is, that's the garbage station. Let's just put it the garbage station that has been producing huge rats all over Fairlawn, spreading out to the rest of the city. That's been a major concern for everyone, right? People in Fairlawn who have worked so hard to buy their houses were afraid that their property values were going to come down because they were trying to make the garbage station bigger. I don't know why they call it a transfer station. It confuses people. It's not really a transfer station because they hold the garbage there so long before they transfer it that it creates a problem with the rats all over the city. Pets are dying because they're eating rat poison because so much has to be put out. Um so if 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 this Marlena does her homework, maybe if she watches this show, she might try to understand. I hope that she tries to understand that if she took this seat in order for the mayor to get a yes to expand this transfer station, she is going to cause the values of every house in Fairlawn to go down. That's not a good idea. And I know one of the major ideas she likes to plug, which is very disturbing to me, is how fast they're going to get a dog park. Okay, for you, all you dog lovers, great. I'm happy for you. You're finally going to get somewhere to bring your dogs to go play. I'm happy for you. But we have been asking for a community center or an after school program for children in this area, in that area of Fairlawn and Woodlawn for so long because none exists and hasn't existed in over 15 years. Um, for people to concentrate more on a dog park, that's great, instead of children. It's a little bit disturbing to me anyway. I don't know how anybody else feels about it. I don't want to downplay a dog park, of course not, you know, but the vets area was supposed to be some type of after school program for children through through an organization that I was a part of years ago, and something was going to be created to make an after school program for kids, by Nathaniel Green. And to see now a dog park being talked about, like I said, I don't mind. I'm happy. I think we should have probably concentrated on after school program for children first. Maybe some type of daycare or day activities for the elderly that live in Fairlawn. There's a lot of them that still want to stay in their homes, that still live in Fairlawn. We're caring about animals before we care about people and children. That's disturbing to me. She can be happy all she wants about this dog park the mayor's giving her because congratulations for winning. But that's also a slap in the face to all these people that have been waiting for years for something for the children to do after school. And I didn't hear her mention any of that. But if y'all want to be happy about a dog park, go ahead. I'm happy for you. Um, Maybe our kids can go play with the dogs after school. I don't know. I mean, some things. I mean, let's make a positive out of a negative, I guess. Kids can play in the dog park with the dogs and call that something that she gave to the community. I don't know. Go ahead, Lynn. Sorry.
No, that's okay. So, while, Don Grebian was out there, plugging yesterday at the polling places and, with his fake smile and his fake laugh, I actually was going through my notes and and I discovered that, back in September, I was looking for the mayor's community board minutes to their meetings. They've had quite a few meetings now. And I had asked on, we have this email going on. It has, I don't know how many people. How many people are on that list, Chris? 20?
19. 19.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
well, it's
I
20.
had asked,
When I send out emails, it says 19, but I'm not including myself. So it's 20. And it includes some of the council members, the mayor, the chief, the city solicitor, several community organization members, and some of the members from the CU4PC, and also some of the board members that are on the the mayor's advisory board. There's about 3 or 4 of them included in there.
Okay, so that's the mayor's community board. So and just to back up just for a minute, back when CU4PC was meeting with the city and they were bringing up issues and, things with the police and excessive force and, the Dolan situation and other things like the internal affairs investigations, all those things, the mayor had said that he was going to hire someone. So, and this person, I believe, is Cassandra Flores. She is the constituent liaison. I can write to her every day. I don't, but I can write to her every day and she doesn't respond. It ended up back in September, I was looking for the minutes to the meeting for the mayor's community board. It's supposed to be posted on the Secretary of State website, so let's say that they have their meeting tomorrow. They need to approve their meeting minutes within like 31 days, I believe it is. So I had asked back in September where July the minutes to the meeting for July were, and she gave me a link and I went there and it's not there. So it was useless. So anyway, so while Don Grabian was out there yesterday, shaking hands and kissing babies, I actually called the Secretary of State's office and I spoke to a very nice gentleman there. And I explained to him that, I haven't been able to go to the meetings for the for the Pawtucket Mayor's Community and what it's the Mayor's Community Board. Okay.
Advisory board.
So she calls it just the I'm looking at the email. She calls it the Mayor's Community Board. But anyway, whatever it is. So I had called and he was like, you know what, let me help you out here. Let me pull it up. So he's like, wow, this is pretty interesting. They don't have July's minutes up, August minutes up, September's minutes up. And as of this week, they're going to be behind on October's. So he was very concerned, and he said, let me patch you right through to the Attorney General's office. This isn't right. People should be able to know what's going on with these. And this is why we have this actual, policy that you have to put in the the minutes to the meeting so that people are aware of what's going on with this board, So anyway, so I was patched through the Attorney General's office. I talked to a very nice gentleman there. I don't know his name. And they told me to send in the violation. So basically, this email that I'm talking about, I had actually asked on that email. And on that email is Frank Milos. So today, the Attorney General's office, just so everybody understands how this happens, yesterday, while Don Grabian was busy, his board got a complaint sent to the Attorney General's office. And today, Frank Milos got the letter from the Attorney General's office that says he's got 10 days to send an affidavit with some kind of a reasoning as to why this is that they are not submitting their minutes to their meetings. Now, Cassandra Flores can ignore me. She doesn't have to email me back, but she needs to do her damn job. Okay. So when I ask where your minutes are, I'm not just asking because I want to see it. I want everybody to be able to see it. Don't get upset because you don't like the messenger. Just take the message, go with it, do your damn job. Okay. So I don't know how Frank Milos is going to defend the fact that meeting minutes were submitted to the Secretary of State's office to be put on their website when he's part of this email and he's very well aware of the fact that I've been asking and I've been very patient. And you know what? Yesterday I had a minute and I said, well, let me give a call. Ended up So they're in violation of July, August, September, and probably by the time he sends the affidavit or she gets off her butt and actually puts these minutes on the website, probably October as well. So I'm trying to figure out, we have the city hall is so top heavy with all these people sitting on everybody's laps and everything. Don Grebian's hiring this one to handle the community and this one to handle this and this one to handle that, but nobody's handling anything. Okay. And in doing so, we're paying this woman to handle this very important. I mean, I would think that it would be one of the most important things on our list, which would be the community board, where the community can put their complaints, their concerns, their, you know, whatever into this board. You know, maybe they have kudos for the mayor. I can't imagine they would, but you know, they can put their stuff to this board for them to discuss, and we have no idea what they're even talking about. We don't even know, you know, we don't know what's being said at these meetings. Community, Don Grabian, community. You were out in the community yesterday asking people to vote for your candidate that, you know, you're hoping is going to, you know, send your administration into, extra transfer stations and extra taxes and everything. But what about the community, Don? You wanted this person, this Cassandra Flores. How much is she getting paid to ignore the community? Because that's exactly what she's doing. She's ignoring the community. She's ignoring her responsibilities as the constituent liaison, and she's the one that puts in these, she puts in the agenda. Why isn't she following up with the minutes of the meetings? I'd like to
So
see
here's
what's
the
going
problem
on
with
at
that,
the mayor's.
right? The
What?
liaison was supposed to be the person that would be in contact with the community about some of the police issues, bring them to the mayor and have the mayor address them or find a way to address it. Clearly, her job is pointless, because she was hired for that, but she was also told by the mayor to just ignore everyone. So I don't know how her position even works. He usually hires people under one position, but then ends up making them do other things. I'm pretty sure she was probably out there canvassing and doing all kinds of stuff for this candidate yesterday. But while we were meeting, this this mayor advisory board was brought up by the mayor because we asked for a community review board like they have in Providence. So we were under the impression, well, some of them were under the impression, because I knew right off the bat he was just trying to distract us from asking for a community review board by presenting this new idea that would only work on his behalf for him. So he created this idea, and some people I fell for it, and they thought it was a great idea because the initial idea was he didn't have the time to continue meeting with us because it would take months, possibly a year, to create a community review board. So, in his place, he was going to create a mayor's advisory board to come and meet with us, the community, try to figure out how we can set up a community review board. So, this advisory board was supposed to lead to talks that would eventually get us a community review board. I'm not just saying that because I'm pulling it out of somewhere. I was present for these meetings. These meetings are recorded. So there are receipts for everything that I'm saying right now that came out of that crooked mayor's mouth to fool us and distract us from the real police issues in the city, which happens everywhere, mind you. However, people don't always fall for the distraction. And in here, I think people did. Now, since he's created his board, he took it upon himself to appoint the people he wanted on the board. These are the same people that were out there for him yesterday because he said so, that will not pay attention to community leaders if he says so, that will ignore emails like they're doing now on this chain email that's been going on now for 8 months that people don't answer because he won't allow them to. So it's working for him because now these people aren't serving a purpose at all. The last time I heard that they had a meeting in September, Lynn, in case you don't know, they weren't discussing ways on how to call in the community leaders and start talks about the police. They weren't concerned about what their position really is. Half of them don't even know what they're doing on this board. Some of them aren't showing up because they feel like they were tricked to get on the board and the board is not standing for what it was supposed to. None of the issues have been discussed, but they were talking about how to fix the economy and they were talking about affordable housing, which has nothing to do with why they're on the mayor's advisory board, by the way, as far as I'm concerned. But the mayor has somehow flipped this to be something that it was never intended to be. And people who are on it are completely confused. That's why you see no minutes. There's probably nothing happening because nobody knows what the hell they're doing there. They don't even know why they're there. They're still trying to figure out why they're there and what they should even be discussing. And there's no direction by anyone in the mayor's office to tell them why they're there. They're just there so the mayor can say, look, I have this board. These are the people who are on it. Look, I have minorities on it. But he can't even say what they've been discussing because he's probably hasn't talked to any of them either. Nobody has no clue what they're doing around here. And you know what's the saddest thing is, Lynn? Everybody loves having a title. I get it, guys. I get it. But you can't be calling yourself a doctor, and he can't appoint you as a doctor if you don't know what to do with a needle, if you don't know what to do with a stethoscope, if you don't know anything about being a doctor, you don't even know anything about being a CNA. You can't just accept the title, guys, if you don't know what it is, because you know what happens. When people like me and Lynn catch on to it, guess what's on the line? It's not your title that's on the line. It's your character, your integrity, your dignity, and your lack of self-respect that gets put on the line. I can't respect
Come on,
anybody who would
Chris.
take a title for the city just
Come
because
on.
you're taking a title because the mayor is giving it to you.
Come on, Chris. Let's think about this. If you had anyone in this city that you wanted to ignore, would it be people that are very vocal? I mean, does she not know that she's going to be discussed? Do they not know that we're going to call them out? Like, I don't even get it. Like, if it was, if it was just somebody, that just in passing you heard their name, but they're hearing our name down in City Hall probably once a week, twice a week, maybe daily. Hey, did you hear what Farinelli did? Did you hear what Bento did? All these things. Do you really think that she wants to be on my radar, or do you think that she might want to do her damn job? And you know what? And take a look at the board and find out what you should be doing for the community, because we're going
Yeah.
to call you out. I'm going to look at all those minutes for those meetings, and I am actually going to, I'll publish them, my Facebook. I'll put them on my Facebook. What exactly are you doing, and what kind of unity are you bringing with the community and the administration, and what kind of services can the community depend on you to bring forward? We're
Yeah, I
bringing
think
these
I
things
think
to you.
as if the administration now has an advisory board, right? I would hope, Lynn, this is my problem. I would hope and pray that somebody on the advisory board that they've appointed to be these smart people that obviously should know what they're doing. And I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but guys, let's be real. Let's be real here. I'm all about real talk. And if you feel offended with what I'm about to say, you should be. If all these people were appointed because they're so smart and they deserve this title to be on the mayor's advisory board, okay? A lot of you watch this. You're not probably not watching it live, so we won't know you're watching it. Come tomorrow morning, there will be so many views because everyone that works for the city watches this to see if they're the next person we're talking about. They'll ignore us, but then tomorrow it's going to be a buzz in the city hall as to who we mentioned. Okay. So if you know we're going to mention you and you know you're going to be the laughing stock tomorrow morning, why would you even do this to yourself? All these people are advisors to the mayor. I don't know, 20 people on that advisory board. You mean to tell me not one person on that mayor's advisory board has called him yet to advise him that it's probably not wise to continue playing this little game that he likes to play with Bento and Farinelli and ignore the community? I'm sorry, you're a bunch of dumbasses. I might like you as a person. I know many of you on the email. I know many of you that work for the city. Okay? You might be good people. But when it comes to your job and your title, you're dumbasses. Okay? And I'm not saying we're bullies and everybody should be afraid of us. No, that's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is we're holding you accountable for your title and for your job. How about you simply just do it? So, with that being
How
said,
about the fact?
although we skipped over the political arena that happened yesterday, um, I'm
Oh,
gonna
wait a minute.
squeeze
Wait a
this
minute.
in real quick.
Wait a
Yeah,
minute. I gotta squeeze this in. Anybody that wants to look it up, I challenge you. Okay, the community advisory board, the mayor's advisory board. Some of them don't live in Pawtucket. So people from other communities are coming to my city to advise my mayor how to be a mayor. How cool is that, right?
right,
So what they probably should do is tomorrow get on the horn, give him a quick little ring if you can get him on the phone and let him know, advise him that he is the mayor and he should probably be paying attention to his community. That's
right,
probably the first thing. Like, take that information and go to him and advise him that there is a community out here that's waiting for him to do the right thing. But go ahead,
right.
squeeze in what you want to squeeze in now.
Yeah, I'm going back to the political thing from yesterday. I don't want to be I don't want to be petty, but I want to give another example of what we're saying here about monkey see, monkey do. All these people that have jobs in the city, but they don't have morals to be able to keep their own integrity and self-respect. I'm going to do this because I have to. And then I promised Lynn get into all the other stuff if you want to, or we can save it for another day. If anybody has questions, let us know in the comment box. Let me show you guys this pettiness that happened yesterday. That was, to me, I laughed it off because I have to at this point. And I'm gonna call somebody out from City Hall because I call people out on air and out loud after they've ignored me. Okay? So let me add another fool to the list to show you how it starts from the top and it trickles down to every single branch and department in this city hall. I know Pawtucket politics very well. I have a lot of insight with what goes on in this city. I was on the mayor's campaign. I know how dirty he plays. I know how dirty his people play. I know a lot of it. Okay. So I've been involved with the Pawtucket politics for a very long time. Now, I've never run for office. I've never run for anything, don't care to. So I don't really have too much relations with the Board of Canvassers. It's probably the only department I don't go into in City Hall and don't really know anybody in there and don't really care for them much. So, long story short, yesterday, for the first time, I worked as a poll watcher on the inside of a polling location. And this is who I'm calling out today: Ken McGill. Ken McGill, who is he runs the Board of Canvassers in the City Hall. Okay, he's the master or whatever you want to call him. And he came down into the polling location yesterday. And guys, I didn't say anything to him. I didn't even look at him. I don't know. I don't care. He's irrelevant to me. As a matter of fact, he had no say over me because I wasn't there working for the Board of Canvassers. I was there as a volunteer for the campaign, and I was watching. The people working on the inside to make sure that no shenanigans got pulled. Okay, called out a few shenanigans that was happening in there, and I was right because the woman for the state who came down did agree that a vote did not count because of certain circumstances. This man was only in that building for about 5 minutes and he left. And after he left, about an hour or two later, staff from the city canvases department came to the location and called the mayor out to the hallway. I mean, the mayor, the manager, sorry, out into the hallway where I could still hear the conversation. So the point was they were sent by someone to come and provoke me or intimidate me. I was the only poll watcher in there at that time, which also can be called checker, watcher, whatever term you want to use. Um, and they said loudly to the manager of that location, we came down, two of them. We had to come down because Ken McGill, who was here, went back and told us we needed to come here because you're having a problem with a checker. The kid had no idea what they were talking about. So he's like, I don't know that. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't call for nobody. And the person who was there from the Board of Canvassers from the state, had I done something wrong, she said to me, it can't be you because I'm sitting right here. And if you had done something wrong, I would have called your attention to it. So it can't be you. They're probably at the wrong location. I said, well, there's only two locations. And the way the mayor likes to target me on every election day, whether I'm usually outside. He usually makes something to get rid of me, or cops being called for no reason. People have a hard time believing this. I'm not exaggerating. I kept my composure the whole time because I knew they were full of crap. So they kept on insisting with the kid that there was an issue with the checker, and the kid could not. He could not, for the life of him, be that crooked and say yes. So he kept saying, "No, I'm telling you, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't call for anybody." And he asked them what the complaint was, and they did not know. We don't know what the complaint was. We were sent here by Ken McGill. Well, why did Ken send them there? Who told Ken to come for me? You know what I mean? So you guys got to understand, I'm a threat. Yes, I was minding my business, sitting at the table where I belonged, doing exactly what I was there to do. This is how the intimidation, and they try to provoke me, and they try to harass me no matter where I'm at. I can't even regularly do regular activities because they're funny like that. And it starts from the top. The mayor sets all this pettiness up, guys. You have no idea how petty your mayor is. He's like a little teenage girl. I mean, I don't even know teenage girls that behave this way. He wanted my attention so bad, and he couldn't get it. So now he sends his people over there to try to provoke me to see if they can get me going so that I would get kicked out. I don't know what the agenda was. They don't seem to know what the agenda was. They don't even seem to know what the complaint was. All right, I'm going to end it here by saying I sent an email to Ken McGill, and I was very polite, and I only asked him simply if he could let me know what the complaint was on me yesterday and why he sent someone there for me, or to complain about me, or to fix a complaint that was made on me. I'd like to know who called in. And if you can't tell me that, at least tell me what they called in, what the complaint was. Because no one even approached me because it was obviously BS. And he will not answer me. I assume he's being told not to, because you don't have an excuse as to why you did it. You just did it because monkey see, monkey do. The mayor told it again, another one of his staff, to do something immoral, irrational, and stupid. And they followed his lead and did it. I can hear him now. Find something, do something, get her out of there. Because, they wanted to play their shenanigans inside, but Bento was sitting there watching. So they have to get me out of there. So he told them to create something, but they couldn't come up with anything. And I still can't get an answer as to what the complaint was. I simply want to know what the complaint was and why they came to the location. That's all. Is that so hard? It should be documented. Something should be documented, right? So I'll invite McGill, either, inbox me because you guys operate on Facebook all the time. At least email me back, because you're the fool for the week now. You're the one I'm calling out this week, Ken McGill, for your stupidity. Why should you even be the person in charge of Board of Canvassers if you can't even keep your values and morals in check, and you want to play monkey see, monkey do, and play with something so serious like that? What was your agenda, and what were you trying to do to Christine Bento yesterday? That's my question to him. So go ahead, Lynn.
Sorry. Okay. I actually was sending the Cameron. I just sent you those resumes. So anyway, I'm not going to say who sent the original APRA at this point. I'm going to keep that to myself, and I appreciate it, Chris, if we can do that at least for this week. But you might remember I did ask for the. I actually gave them the deal of the day, which was not this past Monday, but the Monday before, that they could fix those IA reports. They could redact names that they should have, and that deal ended on that Monday at 4:30, not this past Monday, but the Monday before. And they chose to ignore me. So they thought that they could fix it, I guess, on Thursday. Well, Thursday isn't Monday. And I did receive an email from Lizette Gomes. She's the assistant city solicitor. And she let me know that she went back in and redacted that police officer's name. Well, unfortunately, to that police officer, she didn't find it important enough to get that to me on Monday. And I already got that PDF file all set, ready to go, and it's going in the book. It was ready at 4:32, I believe, on Monday. So she didn't find it important enough to save him from being put in the book, his name being put in the book, and that's unfortunate because I'm a woman of my word. If I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm doing it. So when I told you by 4:30 on Monday, I didn't mean by 4:30 on Thursday. So Lizette,
Right.
you failed. You failed.
Yeah.
Gave you the opportunity to also give me the reports that did not appear in that file that you sent, and the person that paid that $525, I actually know that person, and I'm going to give that person all the numbers and all the files that they didn't get. So they need that information. They want that information. They're going to get that information. But let me just tell you this. CU4PC had asked for the last 5 years of internally generated and citizen generated internal affairs investigations. At that time, it was $480. Since then, we've received the citizen generated reports. Again, the person that sent the $525 asked for 6 years of reports. I spoke with Frank on that Friday morning, and he said to me, Lynn, guess what? The other APRA that came in that paid for the reports, they asked for 6 years. So you actually got an extra year. Now Lizette is trying to say that we only got 5 years worth. Well, if that was true, why did I get 2014 through 2021? I have no idea what her thought process is, or if the lying just gets all caught up with them, because I did get one for 2014, one for 2015, and it went on. So I'm not sure where her thought process is there. But
And I know that we had
when I
a
only get
conversation earlier, Lynn, and I was asking you to help me make sense of this. I know that you couldn't, but anybody watching, and Lizette, when you do watch this, and next time you answer Lynn, can you just try to make a little bit of sense with the numbers? I'm not no mathematician. However, I'm having trouble figuring out why you charge, who you charge, what you charge. Because if you were charging us 480 for 5 years, someone else paid 525 for 6 years.
But
Plus,
they only asked for the citizen generated. So let's even put
right,
that in half. Okay?
right. So
So the
I'm
480,
still wondering 480. I'm still wondering why she's trying to charge 412 for the other half.
right.
I mean,
For for, for
where is she getting 412 from if the work's already been pretty much done for the first half? It almost seems like
right.
she's making numbers up, and I'm going to be very honest. She's very petty. We've had some problems with her in the past, and
Yeah.
she's not attorney material. Okay, I'm
No.
just gonna be nice. I'm actually being nice when I say that. She's
Yeah.
not solicitor material. I don't know how she got the job of assistant solicitor, but hey, you would think she learned by now. She's only been the solicitor assistant for about what, 3, 4 years. You would think she would have known what she's doing by now. The mistakes that she's making are just I don't know. Even with her math, I mean, literally, the math is off.
Yeah.
Everything is off. And I'm going to go so far as to say this. I agree with you. We're not going to put the name of the person who paid for that APRA publicly. Um, I want to thank that person um, in the biggest way because they did us such a good favor. I was able to find out some details about my case that is very interesting, showing, how officers really do talk behind our backs.
Right.
Pretty
Exactly.
ghetto and
Exactly.
disturbing. Okay, guys, very, very
Yeah.
disturbing. The things that
Mhm.
they'll admit to each other and on paper when they think you won't see it is very disturbing. Makes you want to just get them all
Absolutely.
mentally checked, and along with their
Mhm.
coworkers who give testimony to what they saw. But let's just skip over that. Going back to the deadline you gave her for 4:30, and she thought she can answer you on Thursday before we release the names of some of the officers that she forgot to redact. I'm just going to put a little bit of reminder in there for Lizette Gomes. So you might have sent a correction, Lizette Gomes, but you might want to go give Officer Shea an apology because Christine Bento has once again blasted him today, so they can talk about it tomorrow. Lizette Gomes owes Officer Shea an apology because she forgot to do her job and redact his name. And Cameron, you're gonna like this one. It was Officer Shea that doesn't like being hugged. Someone tried to hug him, and he dropped the poor 63-year-old lady onto the floor and arrested her for trying to hug him. Okay. I don't know you personally, Officer Shea. However, you can thank Lizette Gomes for the plug I just gave you. All right. And you might want to be a little bit more affectionate and compassionate to the people that you're dealing with on a daily basis in my community. Okay, buddy? Thank you, Lizette, for letting us
And
know
I got
who some of the wackos are.
I have another one for you. I have another one for you. So one day I had called the Pawtucket Police Department and I was questioning how Perez had lied to a medical examiner. And the guy that answered the phone, they wouldn't tell me who answered the phone. So he was rude. He was very rude to me. I felt that he was very rude. And he's like, um, you're suing the city. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. What is this? And he's like, oh, I know who you are. And I said, okay. So anybody out there, I haven't received a dime from the city. I don't plan on receiving a dime from the city. I'm calling these people out. You can double check. They haven't even given me an APRA. But anyway, for free. Well, I mean, any big APRA for free. I do get my monthly free APRA. But other than that, we pay for our APRAs. So the so he was rude to me. He was rude. I found him to be very rude. So it ends up that was Yuri Wozny or something like that. His name wasn't redacted either. His name wasn't redacted, and
Wait, which
I'm
one did you
surprised
just
that he
say?
was.
What was his name? Wozni. Is that the guy who falls asleep on the job all the time?
I was gonna say I was
I
surprised
have
he
to. I
answered the
have to.
phone.
I have to
Maybe,
say it. I know a little bit about everybody,
maybe
and unfortunately, Lynn, because they don't wear their name badges, we can't just call them by their name, right? They wear numbers. So now I have learned over the years to coincide numbers by what I remember about the officer, and every time that name comes up, because he doesn't wear a name badge, he's now Officer Sleepyhead. He falls asleep everywhere.
well, the funny
And
thing is,
people record him
if
and he
any,
makes it onto the social media asleep. And Officer Perez, he's the one with the closet situation. This is how we label them now because they refuse to identify themselves. They refuse to wear name badges. So I have a nicknames for many of them, and I'm not afraid to use them. Um, and unfortunately, once you get caught doing something dumb, you become that my guy. Like the one you just said, I don't even know how to pronounce his name, and I don't even care to learn how to pronounce his name because to me he's Officer Sleepyhead.
Right. Well, the thing is with him, if you want to know what he looks like, you can go on the Valley Breeze. There's a picture of him sleeping in the patrol car with drool coming down his face.
Yeah, there is a picture of him on the Valley Breeze, snoring, mouth wide open, right? Drool coming out the side of him. Yeah, well, we didn't do that to
Yeah.
him. He did that to himself. I don't feel bad. You know what I mean?
So
I
I
don't feel
didn't.
bad.
They wouldn't tell me who the rude SOB was on the other end of the phone. So now, thank you, Lizette. Thank you, and his name will also be in my book. So that was one of the other things. But getting back to the course letter, and again, I'm not going to say who put the APRA in, but the APRA was for a good amount of information. I'm going to say it was about 35 individual files that they're looking for. And, some of those files could actually be emails that I might have sent to IA. They might be complaints that I had submitted about a certain police officer or any police officers, or excessive force things, or, things that, in the community that, should be out there. And, I'm going to say that it's going to be extensive research, because they're going to have to go through Tina's emails, and they're going to have to go through IA's emails, and Frank Milos, and maybe someone might have showed up at Frank Milos's office with some concerns
But how
about
did she
certain
come up with
things
the
that were
cost,
happening.
Glenn? How did she come up with the cost? I mean, do we have to
Well,
do we
five
have
months.
to we have to force Milos to put calculators into their budget? What is she
Well,
using to come up with these numbers? Because she seems like a she seems like a crackhead if she can't come up with these numbers correctly. Charging me 480 for something, for one thing I asked for, versus someone puts in an APRA for 35 pieces of information and one more year of what I asked for minus internals, and they pay 525. How in the world does
I'll
she
tell you
expect I'm going to
why.
pay 412 for what's left over? I mean, if that
I'll
ain't
tell you
painless
why.
and selectingness, I don't know what is.
Okay, I'll tell you why.
Is
And I'm
math
not,
not
and I'm
something
not,
that
and
lawyers have to study?
I'm going to tell you why. Anything, there's an extra tax, there's an extra charge. If your last name is Farinelli, Bento, if you're associated with Rhode Island Accountability
Yeah,
Project,
I know, right?
there are extra costs built
Extra
into
fees.
those. And the more they don't want you to see something, the higher the cost is. Just saying.
And they,
But anyway,
I
so
think there's a line where they put in for their own percentage of a tip, I guess, right?
yeah, I mean, I just and I'm sure that Lizette's not going to be happy when she hears that she's out there, but I have a funny story about Lizette. I was in that small, that little room off to the side in City Hall one day, and I forget, it was a claims committee or something like that, and I was videotaping. I wanted to videotape because they don't tape those meetings, the ones in the little room usually. They did during COVID, but back then, I forget how many years ago it was, and so I'm videotaping the thing. Well, she must have thought I was videotaping her. Now she takes out her phone and she's going to videotape me. So I look over at Dimitri and I'm like, what the F is this bitch doing? like, is she really going to sit there and videotape me? Because I'm going to go over there and I'm going to take her phone. I'm going to smash it. What is she doing? Like, is she really going to sit there and videotape me because I'm videotaping everybody? Like,
Yeah,
she
I
didn't
think I
catch
was there,
on.
and she actually said that too, right? She goes, "Well, you want to videotape me? I'm going to videotape you." Like, what type of professional are we dealing with here? First of all,
I mean,
you're videotaping the entire meeting. It's not about her,
it,
but she took it so personal that she did something so petty. And guess what? None of the people at the table corrected her or thought she did anything wrong. And then they act like we act like animals or whatever we're doing. We're irrational. She acts like I can't even say a 2-year-old because I know 2-year-olds who acts better than that. But to pull out your phone as the assistant solicitor to the city, and you're an
She
attorney,
was on
so
her
you're high.
job.
You're supposedly high class because you went to school and you think you're better than everybody else, and you're so, you're all, all that, and a bag of chips and then some. Why
She
would
was
you do something like that and pull out your phone saying, "You're filming me? I'm gonna film you." Okay, Karen. Okay, we're gonna call her. Forget her Lizette Gomes. Let's just call her Karen Gomes because she was definitely acting like one. I don't understand how people
well,
get away with stuff like that.
the funny thing is now she works in the city solicitor's office. She's getting paid to sit at that table. I think it was the claims committee. Didn't she have a job to do? Was she really that intimidated by Lynn Farinelli sitting there videotaping the room? I mean, is she that petty? Because there's been another situation where she's, I'm not going to say it, but she's pointed out somebody in the community, to alert the police that they should keep an eye on the person or do whatever they're going to do to the person, whatever it is. But she is that type of person. She is that
Petty.
type of person that wants to rile people up, and that had nothing to do with her. In fact, she would have flown right onto my radar. She really would. I mean, that day I had no idea like anything about her. But now, see, this is what happens. You draw attention to yourself. Cassandra Flores, she's drawn attention to herself by ignoring the community's
Right?
concerns or questions. So now you just went up on the radar. Now I'm watching. Now what are you doing? What's going on here? Oh, wait a minute. $525 for 35 different files, yet we're getting charged $480 for an APRA. I don't even understand this. But other people are actually coming forward, and I can't say who, but they're actually questioning some of these APRA costs as well. And I think that Frank Milos, he's going to be put on the carpet for a lot of this, because when it doesn't balance out and you're looking at it and you're saying, well, is it a heightened privacy that they're looking for? Are they looking to hide this information, and they think if they balloon this amount of money that needs to be paid out, are people going to
Lynn,
walk
can I
away
ask
going,
you a
nah, I
question,
don't want
Lynn?
it that bad?
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Of
Um,
course.
if I was to APRA, let's just say, um, I wanted to APRA how many hours a day Lizette Gomes really works, right? Let's say I put that APRA in. Once it
Yeah,
comes to me, it becomes public information. Now,
absolutely.
and correct me if I'm wrong. Lynn Farinelli goes in and she APRAs the same thing. Technically, you should get it free because I already paid for it and the work's already been done, correct?
100%.
How do we know they're not double dipping and charging you? Like, if you didn't know me and you don't know that I already retrieved this information, how do we know that the city solicitor's office didn't just charge you for the same information I already paid for? How do we know they're not charging everyone for something, because there's no way that you would know that I had already asked for that and got it and paid for it?
Well, can I bring something up that's very interesting? So this APRA that was sent in by this anonymous person went in July. So even if he needed an extension of, so it's usually 10 days, and then they can ask for another 20. So a total of 30 days, but it's actually 30 business days. So you're looking at 45 days if they put in for an extension. So that brings us, if my math is correct, we're looking at the second week in September, right? I mean, yeah, second week in September.
So
Um,
how was it given up in October then, if it was already paid for and already was supposed to
we
be
were
handed to
still
the other
talking,
person in September?
we were still talking about this in October. So they knew that they already had the money for this. Or I mean, I don't know how long it took for the cost letter to, maybe the cost letter went out 10, maybe it's okay. Like maybe
No,
I'm going to give it
hold
to
on.
them. I'm going to
I'm gonna
say,
stop you right there. Don't say maybe. I want to stop you right there and not to say maybe, because this is where a lot of people who don't understand the opera process will get confused. So
Okay.
The
All
actual
right.
process is that they won't start working on it until they receive payment. For them to have
Right.
worked on it all that time and handed it to this person in October, September, whenever they handed it to them, and if they started working on it in order to have it ready for September, that means when Lizette was going back and forth with Rhode Island Accountability discussing the payments, Lizette Gomes and Frank Milos knew that half of this APRA had already been paid for. So we've got a problem.
No, no, wait a minute. Hold on. Because what I want to do is, because I want to be fair about it, because I never want to put out wrong information. So it looks like, this person put their APRA in. I'll tell you. Oh, wow. Okay. So this person put their APRA in July 28th, and they didn't even send the course letter until August 25th. Then he would have to receive the payment from this person. So maybe that took another week. So now we're talking September. Maybe it was right around that time. But I'm wondering why it took them until August 25th to even send the cost letter. Like, did it take them a month to actually come up with that it was going to take them 36 hours to search and retrieve, compile, redact, and respond the responsive documents? Like, I don't even know. Like, so this
So
person.
what date you might not have this handy, but I'm interested to know what date when I went and did public input and requested for the fees to be waived, and Lizette wrote back to you and told you that she was aware that you had contacted the mayor and other people to waive the fees, but that she wasn't going to waive the fees. I would like to know that date because I would like to know if she knew she had already been paid for it and still insisting that the fees were not going to be waived. So um, I might have to
Okay.
file a claim against Lizette if this is the game she wants to play. And since she's an attorney, she'll know what that means.
Okay, let me
She needs to
look
be
to
found in
see.
violation if she indeed did tell you she was not going to waive the fees, knowing that some of the fees, partial fees, had already been paid for.
Okay,
I will file.
if you just
I
give
will
me,
definitely get her violated for that.
if you give me 1 second, I will be able to give you that. Okay, so we got the course letter. Let's see. Oh, wow. Huh.
I'm liking these
Okay.
wows.
Okay, so on August 31st, Lizette Gomes wrote to APRA Watch, which is Rhode Island Accountability Project, which I'm co-founder, and that's where this all was asked for under. Um, so she wrote on August 31st, hope this message finds you well. Not to me, it was to my partner. Thank you for your email. Please be advised that prior to my email on 8/19, the law department had in fact talked to Mayor Grebian, and he agreed with our decision regarding the course. In other words, he agreed, don't give him anything. In addition, we were provided with 224 internally generated and 214 citizen generated. So it's about the same amount. Like, it should have, if at anything, it should have been cut right in half, because now we have half of them, and that was 480. So it should have been brought down to 240. But I mean, even at that, I think that, I think with this game that they're playing, I think that it would probably be in Frank Milos's best interest to just send them over. But I mean, my deal was over on that Monday, and I'm putting in a violation on every one that was not provided. Now, when I said that we got one for
Well, you know what?
2014,
If they probably should have waived the fees. Um, the council, shame on the council. Um, I'm gonna go more in detail. Shame on the council president Moran. Shame on the council vice president Mercer. Shame on council at large Arujo, and shame on Councilman Wilderhane. Those four
right,
who voted no for the fees to be dropped on this. Right? Shame on
right,
you. Shame on Milos. Shame on Gomes. Shame on the mayor. Shame on everybody involved in that email. Because you know what, guys? For those of you who don't understand what this means, you could have you could have just been smart and waived $480 and gotten over it, right? And you would have found somewhere else to steal it or take it or whatever if you needed it that bad. Now,
But so much
what
has
happens
branched off
what
now.
happens now? Yeah, what happens now is you piss us off, right? And now we stop blasting officers like Officer Shea, right? Like Officer Sleepyhead. Now, now we start publicly blasting people that you forgot to redact. And what that costs everybody, the taxpayers, the voters, everybody needs to understand this. What that costs us all, right? We don't have to be quiet. Don't tell me to be quiet because what I say gets the city sued. Take your criticism and contact Frank Milos and contact your council president and vice president and at large. Contact them all and let them know how you feel about the city facing hundreds, because we've only given you two examples of what we're getting ready to do, hundreds of lawsuits for information that has been leaked out by accident that should not have been leaked out. And we're not being mean or rude by blasting it. We're just showing you that when somebody in the inside of City Hall doesn't do their job correctly because they don't care, it costs the city money, because people like us will come and show the boo-boos they're making. I have no problem um giving you information unless it has something to do with a child or an elderly. I won't mess with none of that. But when it comes to like a police officer who I pay as a taxpayer to serve me, and he's acting like a fool, and the city solicitor and the city solicitor's assistant who I pay to work in my city and doesn't do their job, yes, I will cost the city a lot of money, my dears. I will do it
Well,
because it's
Chris,
their responsibility to do the right thing and have handed this information over when it was politely asked for. Because you didn't, because you were being greedy, and Lizette wanted $480 instead of shutting her mouth and just doing her job. Okay. She wants to be all extra. So now we'll be all
yeah,
extra and we'll give you some extra lawsuits to go play with. Okay. Now go deal with that. And there's a lot more to come. It's a lot more to come. We just gave you two examples. These officers can now file a claim because their names should have been redacted and they weren't. And it's not my fault.
absolutely.
It's not me they're suing. If I was Officer Shea, I'd be filing a claim right now against the city solicitor's office because he's being harassed or called out on the coalition radio for being an idiot, because
Right.
Lizette was an idiot and Frank Milos was an idiot and Moran was an idiot, Wildering was an idiot, Mercer was an idiot, and Aruja was an idiot for not just simply handing something over from the beginning.
So all right. So I just have 2 points that I really have to drive home here. I'm glad that you asked that question because Lizette sent that course letter to that person on August 25th. And on August 31st, she was still pressuring us, telling us that Don Grebian wasn't going to waive any fees or anything. So she already knew that this was in the works. On August 25th, she sent that course letter to the other person. And on the third, that was on August 25th. And on the 31st, she's still telling us that she wants that money. So had she gotten that money from us, would we have gotten a refund? Is it the first one with their check into the office gets the deal? I don't know how that actually works. Now, that's the first thing that I wanted to drive home there. But the second thing that I wanted to say was that I will be providing, because I do know this person, I will be providing them with all the reports. So the report started at, I believe, 1443. So from 1443, every other report, and like I said, there are many, every other report that I have that was not in that file, I'm going to be providing to that person, because you know what? They deserve to know. And I hope that they also put in a violation with the city, I mean, against the city with the Attorney General's office for what they were not provided, that they were told they were being provided. Now, I'm sure
Right.
Lizette
So,
is sitting in
Lynn,
her office today.
before you go too further into this, because I'd like for the listeners and the watchers to fully understand what you're saying, because sometimes the legal language for that can be a little bit confusing. So what Lynn basically just said was that Lizette Gomes, the city solicitor assistant, purposely left some of the reports out. So she
Right,
did give whatever was appered, but she purposely withheld some of them, which is probably information that they thought that we shouldn't know, or you can't do that. That's a violation. She can't just withhold information. Her job was to just redact names and hand it over, no matter how serious it was. And I think Lynn said there was about 80, approximately 80, if not more, between the range of 80 and 100. That was purposely, guys. Pay attention to that, purposely, not accidentally. She purposely held them back and didn't give it to the person who asked for it, nor did it come to Lynn. The only reason why Lynn knows they were missing, all right, follow this if you can. The only reason why Lynn knows they were missing is because she has been appering information for years, and she went back. Lynn has spent days and days and days and hours going back and connecting the dots. She has found stuff that she asked for in the past that did not show up in this one. If they were handed over in the past, they should have been in this one because it was an overlap. If Lynn asked
right,
for information a year ago on a specific incident, it should have been in this one because 6 years were asked for, going back 6 years. So when Lynn was
right,
going through the 6 year one and found that this particular incident was left out because she already had it and it only happened a year ago. This is how Lynn knows that Lizette Gomes withheld information on purpose. Now, Lynn was able to know that because Lynn had some of the missing pieces to the puzzle, but the person who paid $525 for the APRA request wouldn't have known that there was stuff missing. Lizette wasn't going to tell them, hey, by the way, I forgot to give you 100 of them. She wasn't going to say that. She wasn't going to say that. The person right now still has no idea that they didn't get everything they asked for. They think they got everything. So, what Lynn is saying is, Lynn is not only going to tell the person you're missing information, she's going to follow it up with receipts and give the person the information they're missing so that they can go back and ask Lizette why that wasn't in there. And I can guarantee you there's a reason behind everything that goes missing. There's certain reports that go missing throughout the entire police department that you can't get your hands on because they selectively remove them so that the truth can never be told. But even attorneys and police and city solicitors, they have their little dumb moments from time to time where they slip up, okay? There's
ugh,
no truth that goes untold, my friends. You can't keep many secrets, and you tell on yourself. And unfortunately, Lizette has told on herself and doesn't even realize it. And by ignoring Lynn, not meeting the deadlines that Lynn sets forth, she's not doing herself any favors. You're poking the bear, my friend. Lizette, you're poking the bear, baby girl. Knock it off. You being attorney does not make you in the power or the position to withhold information. That's a violation, right? Not only is it a violation, it's embarrassing when regular citizens like us get to sit here and point it out. Like, you know, I'm sorry to hurt your ego just a little bit, but you might want to go back and get your professors to relook at your degree because I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on with your kid.
yeah. And the other thing is, I had talked to Nicole Farias down at the at City Hall in the city solicitor's office, and she's like, "Well, maybe you don't understand. This is the way that IA reports are and everything." And I was like, "Hold up, hold up. She's new on the block. She has no idea. I've been around for 7 years now. 7 long freaking years. If there's anybody that understands how the IA department doesn't work, it's me. If anybody understands how it should be working, it's me. So when I'm looking at these files and we're looking at, let's say, 1443 and 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and 51, 52. If she thinks for 1 minute, I'm going to take her excuse that, oh, maybe those were before, those things happened before July. Okay. Okay, but they're memorialized in 14. So when they're 14, 41, 42, 43, 44, they're not mentioned in the previous year. So this is the year you're going to mention them. This is the year they're being accounted for. So
So if
besides
she
that,
says the person asked for 6 years, but she only gave you 5. All right. So now, and yours is going back to 2014. So did she decide to pick what year she left out? I'm sorry. This is funny. I
she didn't just pick
I
what years.
can
No, no,
somebody
no, no. I got
please
all the
help us make
years.
sense of this?
I got
Yeah,
all
but
the
if
years.
she's trying to convince you that the reason why you're off is not because she hid some of them from you, she's trying to convince you that, oh, that's because we left 1 year out because you only asked for 5 years and the person asked for 6. If that's indeed her excuse for purposely hiding some of these reports, right? Um, then if your reports are going back to 2014, one has to wonder, oh, it's because you only asked for 5 years. So does that mean she went in and took out enough to cover a year wherever she felt like it, or what year did she take out?
Well,
2016? Was
this
it
is
2020?
very interesting because I'm going to tell you this. So I actually got 7 years, but she threw in 2014. Now you can look at that one. I don't care. It was me. I complained. I only have probably of 7 years worth. I probably only have 5 IA complaints in there. And I should have more because I actually complained about Dolan on numerous occasions about the things that were going on. But so anyway, and actually, okay, so the first one, the
Well, you can
2014.
see why they would hide Dolan's. They're gonna hide Dolan's at this point now because of what he's done.
Well,
Now they
but
really
it should
gonna
be in
hide
there.
his.
But it should be in there if they
Well, but
actually took if they actually took the complaint, and that's the other thing. I actually have a video of me in front of the council and calling out the police brutality and punching the guy in the face numerous times while the guy was handcuffed, a couple of times, three to 5 times, close fist strikes to the face. The guy was pretty beat up by Dolan, but anyway, but that's besides the point. If we want to go to 2014, which I don't know why she included 2014, because if we're doing 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21, I mean, we're looking at 8 years worth. I don't know where her math is, but anyway, I mean, it's not 5 years, it's not 6 years, not
that's what
7
I'm
years.
trying to
I
tell
guess it's 8
you.
years. But
Homegirl needs a calculator. She's off on math and every single thing that she does. I don't understand how this is working. I mean, it's kind of giving me a headache just talking about her mathematics skills.
well,
How is she even?
the only one that she gave for 2014 was mine. And what had happened was, now, people might not know, my son died in 2014. Shortly after my son died, I was driving down the street and I saw the major crimes van parked across the street from the school. I was concerned. I pulled over. Here are a whole bunch of children coming out of school, and we have a major crimes van here. So I see the dude get out of the van and he goes over and he's shaking hands with the fire department. He goes and he gets his kids. He brings them over to the major crimes van. He puts them in. He's bringing them home. He's bringing them home in a van that houses all the stuff that you need for an investigation. Like there are signs all around this van that says, "Do not tamper with. Caution, stay away." Nobody's supposed to touch this van. It's supposed to stay, fingerprint free and everything. And his kids are climbing in it so that he can bring them home. So I had concern over that because I'm thinking to myself, well, damn it, they didn't send major crimes over when my son passed away, but yet we're using this van for a little bus shuttle, a little school bus or something. I don't know what's going on here. So that was my concern. So I did find out who it was, and it was Perez. It was Perez. And
Oh, the
he
closet guy.
Huh? Yeah. Well, the one that's more concerned over someone being gay than the fact that they're dead. You know what I mean?
No,
So he's
I know,
very
but I'm
interested in
saying
people
I just
being
call him
gay.
the closet guy.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. Someone's got to let him out. But anyway, he's very interested in that. But so the fact, so my problem with that was, so I complained, and when they looked into it, I actually called Major Katerina, and I was like, what are you guys going to do? Here there are children going in a major crimes van. I mean, there could be whatever in that van, or they could be adding to that van of something. They could be touching something that they shouldn't be touching, whatever. I don't know what's in there. So, they were like, yeah, this is the second time he's been caught doing this. Okay, so he's on the job. He is actually using a city vehicle, not a very discreet one, to pick up his children at school. And he's out there shaking hands with people like, hey, look at me, BCI, I don't know. I mean, is he that much of an idiot? Well, I mean, I met him. Yeah, he is. But here we go. So I think that the reason she included 2014 was because it was mine. I think that was just like a little dig, but it was
Because she's
sustained. I mean,
petty. Because she's
exactly,
petty. She's
exactly,
petty. So this
exactly.
is what I
Now
mean
she
about
might
these
not know.
city hall employees. They're all petty. They don't have no values and no morals. They're just operating like a bunch of little children. And when people think I'm just being funny when I say this, the city hall's like a circus. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You walk in there, and the only thing that's missing is their clown outfits. They all look all, dressed up and professional. They're all a bunch of petty ass little clowns working in there. Okay, that don't have
Oh, and I can
no self
guarantee you,
respect.
I mean, Officer Shea, Wozni, or whatever, some of these officers that will be in the book without their names redacted, maybe she's had problems with them and was like, yeah, I'm going to get this one. I'm going to get this one. Who knows? I mean, she could be that petty. I don't know if she did that, but I
Oh,
gave her the
absolutely.
opportunity. I gave her an example of Shay. Okay. But I gave her that as an example. But had she gone through them, she would have found other names. Hello, I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. I'm just going to expect
Yeah,
you to do it.
more names to come. And I'm telling you right now, Lynn, as we do go through these files, and it's not because I'm being petty. I just want to prove a point as to how petty she is. So, just an alert to all other officers out there, okay? Don't shoot the messenger. Do
Mm-hmm.
not get mad at me when you hear your name announced next, okay? Because I can promise you, all the viewers, and Lynn and Lizette, everybody who watches this, because they all gonna watch it. They act like they don't, but they're gonna discreetly watch it. And all the officers, okay? If you know that you have had some type of complaint put on you, whether it was by another officer or whether it was by a citizen, okay? If you are an officer in the city of Pawtucket and you know that within the last 5 years someone has filed a complaint about you, please know and take this as a warning and a heads up that if your name does not get redacted from that form like it's supposed to, I am going to make your name public and the situation in which you were involved with.
Oh no, they
Yes, I
had their
will.
chance to redact them. The ones that I received that I did not get a new copy of by 4:30 on the Monday before last are going in a book as is. I am not under any obligation, and I've made many phone calls. I am not under any obligation to redact anybody's personally identifiable information because these are now public record. So here you go. It's a public record. It's now there. And guess what? It's going in as is because I
Hey,
did the
hey,
right
Lynn,
thing.
can I
I did
ask
the
you
right
this?
thing.
I
What?
know that I know that you're gonna do a book, right? And you're gonna put the information as is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, um, as your co-host, can we have a special section in that book, a chapter called "Connect the Dots," so that I can actually link some of the names of the officers that were redacted?
I'm not going to be responsible for that one, but
I will.
listen, listen,
I'll be
listen.
responsible for that chapter.
You know what? And the thing is, you know what? Had I not put the deal on the table, because I did put the deal on the table, and they knew that as of 4:30 on Monday. So basically, to all the cops out there in Pawtucket that think that, oh well, they're just doing this. No, no, there was a deal. There was a deal on the table that they could have done the right thing by 4:30 on the Monday before last. They chose to expose you. So don't look at this as a negative with Eyes on Pawtucket or anything. You look at it as a negative for your city solicitor's office, and in particular Lizette Gomes. Had she probably not been videotaping people in meetings and stuff like that, maybe she would have had the time to actually redact properly these files and not exposed you, Yuri Wanzi. No, I'm just saying, I mean, now I know that you were the a-hole on the other end of the phone that day. But anyway, so take a nap. And that's probably what Lizette's been doing. She's napping. She doesn't have time to worry about anybody else's name. So in doing so, the deal came off the table, but there was a deal on the table that she could have done the right thing. She chose not to. And even at that, when she went back in, she only cared about getting rid of Shay's name. She didn't care about all the other names. And unfortunately, yeah, there are a lot. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry to say that your city failed you, but it's probably not your city because you're probably going home to Massachusetts or Providence, East Providence, or Smithfield, or wherever. So my city failed you. I'm sorry.
Right. And like I said, so many lawsuits are going to come out of this, but at this point, I don't care. They probably should start settling out some of the ones they already have because they're just going to be piling up after now.
Oh,
And
it's crazy.
unfortunate,
It's crazy.
unfortunately, um, the more harassment that they do to people, including myself, I see myself filing many more claims against this city because I see the harassment continuing. Um, every day pretty much. There's something silly going on, like with Ken McGill. That was a type of harassment yesterday. I'm not sure what the hell he was thinking. April Fool's Day is in April, my friend. I don't think you want to be playing with me in November. But if you want to, that's on you. He can ignore my email and not answer what that was all about, but that's just only going to make me guess, and I'll get my answer one way or another. Like, he might as well just answer my email, because I'll
But
I'll
one
I'll
last,
I'll make a public input. I'll continue to harass him until I get an answer. If he doesn't know me by now, he's about to find out. The mayor
but
who sent him to do that should have warned him what he was getting himself into. I'm not going away, Mr. McGill. I'm going to continue to plug this until you answer my email. So it might be in your best interest to answer it, and answer it nicely, because I'm not in the mood.
but did you have a nice conversation with her voice yesterday?
I did. As a matter of fact, guys, I'm going to end on a really good note. I'm going to end on a really good note, because we always like to do that, right? It's not all about bashing the city. Um, I have met Herb Weiss, over the years. I've seen him, and I know who he is, and I know he does a lot of work with the turkeys, with the mayor's wife. Um, They claim to give out like 700, 800. I mean, the number just keeps going up. I think that's great. Um, he's
I've
mentioned
never met
something about.
anyone that has received one. I have never met anyone that has received one. I'm just saying. Just saying.
Well, I mean, me
Okay.
neither. But I mean, if it makes him feel good, if it makes him and the mayor's wife feel good, like they think they're doing something, who are we, to say they're not? I mean, there's been no receipts. But anyways, like I said, I'm ending this on a good note. I had a conversation with him. He introduced himself to me, and told me that he ran before and he was out there supporting, the candidate. And we talked for about 40 minutes after he introduced himself. And the conversation went really, really good. Like, really good. I had some insight about the city. He had some insight about the city. I had some insight about the community. He had no insight about the community, but he was paying attention. And I was trying to explain to him how important it is to not only know about the city and the city history, but if the city starts working better with the community, we can come together and everybody's knowledgeable and everybody unites and make the city a better place. But it's got to be the city working with the community. He might know a lot about the city, but I know a lot about the city and the community. Maybe he should learn about the community, right? So he was all for it. He gave me some insight about, politics in Pawtucket, some other people in Pawtucket that know so much about the city, and we had this 40 to 45 minutes conversation before he said to me, "Did I tell you I was Herb Weiss?" And I said to him, "I think this is my cue for me to tell you that I'm Christine Bento." And I mean, you can just imagine if you're someone who's been told that I'm such a rude, obnoxious brown girl who can't be quiet and posting all kinds of junk, you wouldn't imagine he would have had that long of a conversation with me. But because he didn't know who I was, he had a fabulous conversation with me. And when he realized who I was, because he kind of forced me to introduce myself at the end of the conversation, he was very impressed. I've heard about you. How often do you post on Facebook? Oh, daily, maybe hourly. It was kind of cute that he knew exactly who I was. And he says, "Well, you're actually a nice person. I like having a conversation with you." He actually walked over to someone else who I knew. He didn't think I knew, but he told the person, "Hey, that's that Christine Bento girl, and she's very nice." I hope he doesn't get in trouble for that, because sometimes the mayor will blackball a person if they had a conversation with me. So I'm not trying to get him in any trouble. What I am trying to say is that it's very important for people who know the city, and who has so much knowledge about the city. He's a very, very wise man.
He
I
knows
think
about your
he knows a
Facebook
lot.
too. He
Yeah,
knows about your
and
Facebook.
that's amazing. So my point is this, guys, is that if city employees, city officials, city whatever you want to call yourself, um, just drop their ego a little bit and their "I'm better than the community" crap, and start having conversations with some community leaders, you will see that we can really learn from each other. And imagine what would happen if we start to unite our knowledge. Oh my God, Pawtucket would be such like the best place to live in. He asked me about what I thought about affordable housing, what I thought about the train station. And he had his aspect on it and I had my take on it. And he seemed to really understand my take on it, which most don't care to find out. But if they only listen, they'll see like, oh, that's what happens on the community end, you know? People lose their houses when things like this happen. Like, yeah, buddy, you must know that. You know what I mean? But it was a very nice conversation. I had several conversations with many city employees yesterday. Now, Lynn, I've got to say this. Um, I was upset to see that many city officials and city employees working for a campaign that had nothing to do with them. They had no idea who Marlena is. These poor employees had no idea who this girl was. They weren't possibly there genuinely supporting her. They were just there holding up a sign because the mayor told them they had to, and he signs their
Might not
paycheck, so
even
they
live
had
in
to be there.
Pawtucket.
right? Some of them you can see were clearly told not to engage with anyone. They spoke to no one. They were like mutes. They were really mutes. They weren't speaking to anyone because he must have warned them to watch out who you speak to or what you say. But there were quite a few who were very engaging, okay? Who understands that it's okay to be you. You don't have to change who you are because you work for the city and the mayor is your master. You can simply be you. And we got into several great conversations and learned something about everything. Um, but the city likes to act like it's the city versus the community, and the community is asking for the city to work with them. That's where the divide is. The city refuses to work with the community because they think they know everything about the city and the politics, and that's all you need to know, right? Yet you have a mayor. Once again, we're going to end it with what we started off with. You're following a leader who has no direction. Okay. You're following a leader who makes the rules up as he goes along. And whatever he tells you to do, it's like, do as I say, not as I do, because what he does is crooked, right? But he wants to tell you how to conduct yourself politically correct. But when it works for him, he'll break all the rules. And he takes everybody down with him, Lynn. Everybody goes down with him when he does that. I
Absolutely.
I I was taking notes yesterday of every single employee that was working yesterday that should have been at work. Okay, fine. You can take the day off. I ain't saying nothing about that. You can get paid for taking the day off, and then you can get paid for working yesterday. That's fine. Double dip. Everybody needs money right now. That's not my concern. My concern is how many of them are going to go to HR and say, I would have never done this, but I had to because the mayor told me I had to today. How many complaints are we going to get at HR that somebody was forced to do something that they normally wouldn't even do or they don't even know nothing about because the mayor said so? None. How many of the
Well,
politicians are going to go to the Democratic committee and say, this is what he held over my head to make me do this, and I probably shouldn't have done it, but there is not going to be no explanation? Let me tell you something that come election time next year, all of those politicians that I mentioned that jumped off the bridge with Donald Grebian can expect to see me at their fundraiser or any community meeting that they have. Any. And they have now until then to prepare an answer for my question because my question is going to be consistent. And I would tell everyone, if you do show up to these community meetings with these certain people that I've already mentioned today, and I'll mention them again in a minute, if you really want to ask a question and you don't know what you want to ask, I'm going to stop plugging this as of today until election day next year, so the candidates have all the opportunity to come up with a reasonable answer. Why did you follow Donald Grebian into a politically incorrect statement by publicly supporting an unendorsed candidate and working against your Democratic committee for your city? Okay, that is a simple question. They have a whole year and a few months to prepare for this question, right? Um, and I would try to get everyone to ask the same question. I can't make it to all the meetings. I'm going to try to make it to as many as I can. But any coffee hour, fundraiser, or anything for Carlos Toban, Jean Philippe Barros, both of those are state senators, state representatives for Pawtucket. Alzant, she's a female senator. Um, Sandra Cano, who's also a senator, and Arujo. They're saying that it's from Providence, but I mean, I would think it'd be local, but I can't say for sure that it was Arujo on the council because they're saying it's an Arujo from somewhere else. Former Mayor Diosa, if he runs for something else, just in case he runs for something else, you know, we need to ask those people before we vote for
you got to
them
ask
again,
Herbert Weiss. If Herbert
including Mayor
Weiss runs for
Grebian,
something,
right?
if Herbert
Including Mayor
Weiss is,
Grebian. Remember all these names. If these are people that you support, if you claim to support them and you're mad about what I'm saying right now, if you're so in their back pocket and you love them to death and you really support them, you, of all people, should be the one asking these questions. Why in the world would you support an unendorsed candidate for your party because the mayor did it? What in the world were you thinking? Why did you do it? Because that means you're a traitor to your own party, right? And you're capable
I'm
of.
gonna go further. I'm going to go further, Chris. I'm going to go more local. I think that, well, anybody that runs for council again, that was on the council when I stood shaking and very emotional over the fact that, Michael Marrera was beat by Dolan, and the Emily situation, and trying to bring all this up. And they stood there with these blank faces on and did nothing to help Lynn Farinelli find out what was going on. And again, I'm going to say, I think that it's Tina that failed Dolan by not pulling him aside and asking him if something was going on. I truly believe that there was a problem, and it was just growing and growing and growing, and she allowed it to happen. But I would also ask those people that I stood before and they did nothing about it. I would ask them,
And I
would
agree
you
with
go
I
back
agree
in
with you, but
time?
I do have to be fair and clear something up. Half of those people that are there now in the council were not there when this happened. We've got a few new
I
people
can
that
give
can't
you
be
the
held
list of
accountable.
names.
Here's the thing. So the same names that you have that I'm about to announce too, um, it was Arujo, Mercer, Moran, Wildehane. I'm not sure if Vasquez was on at the time, but they would have to answer you to that, right? I have an interesting question. Is if the mayor was able to publicly support the unendorsed candidate, right? How come no one on the council was able to publicly support Patty St. Germain, the endorsed candidate for the Democratic Committee? And I say that only because I saw a couple councilmen at her after party yesterday. But
Right.
leading up to the election, you didn't hear a peep out of any one of them as to who they were supporting, where technically, politically correct thing to do would have been to support her openly. What stopped them from supporting her openly? Was it the same thing that had everyone else um, operating politically incorrect? Did the mayor tell
Well,
them you can't
Chris, you have
support
to look
endorsed
at it.
candidates?
What you have to look at it. Were these two people that were at the thing, have they ever supported Phelan? Like, the people of Phelan, would they actually listen to them, or have they voted, to, you know have they voted to help our community? And I'm talking about District 6. When something comes up for District 6, have they been supportive? And that's the other thing, because if I'm remembering correctly, and I know who you're talking about, what when things came up, were they supportive of the council person for this district when they were fighting? Now, maybe in one instance, but I mean, I can't say that they were all rah 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 for helping us. So the people of District 6 wouldn't be looking at them like they're any kind of a hero. So why would we listen to them on who to vote for anyway? So they're better
Well,
off
you know
being in the
what?
background.
This whole council is wacky. This whole council is
Yeah,
wacky because when
it
you look at
is.
a council for any other city, they support each other. When in Pawtucket, the only time they support each other is when they go to the bar together after a council meeting. All right.
Absolutely.
When they go
Absolutely.
drinking at a bar after a council meeting, they're a team. Oh, we're a team. When they want to get into cahoots and vote something down, they want to have sidebar meetings before the meeting so that way everybody's on the same page. They're a team. But let a
Hmm.
councilman, Tim Rudd, who used to do a lot of events on this side of town, um, I can tell you, I never seen any councilman come to any events and feel on. I've never seen many of the councilmen, especially the at-larges. I'm not talking about Melissa Rosa because she just got in and she's been at just about everything all over the city. I'm talking about the Arujo, the Vitali, the Vasquez. They don't show up to things outside of their district. They show up for
Just
photo
photo
ops
ops.
when the mayor tells them
Yeah.
to. No, listen, they'll show up to photo ops in their district or their
Right.
side of the city, their side of the train tracks. Let's get that right. They'll show up for
Right.
photo ops at Slater Park. They'll show up for photo ops where they feel safe and secure, but they will not even show up for a photo op as bad as they want one on the side of the city where they feel like they're better than everybody else. They won't come to Woodlawn or Fairlawn and what they look at as the ghetto, right? Where the garbage is at, where the rats is at, where the crime is at, where they won't go to those sides of the city, not even if they get desperate enough for a photo op. So how do you call yourself a team if you never go to your teammates' events because you don't care what's happening
Right.
on the other side of the city? I was shocked to see a couple of them yesterday. On district, I was shocked. It's like, what are you doing over here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, weird.
Did they have
I
to use
shouldn't
their
feel weird. I
GPS?
shouldn't feel weird. I shouldn't feel
Did
weird
th-
to see them on this side of the city. It should just be a given, right? At the at
did they have to use
larges,
their GPS, Chris?
I don't know. I believe so. But at the at larges, the only one that's all over the city is Melissa DeRosa, and she's brand new. If she was to
Right.
follow what the other ones are doing, she wouldn't care about the city. How are you an at large? You're supposed to be representing the entire city, but 70% of the city don't even see you because you don't
Right.
go there because you're so above them. I don't understand what at large even is. Um, uh, an official, let's just say an official asked me that yesterday. What is at large? Not every city has an at large. What is an at large? And why does Pawtucket have three of them? Girl, I couldn't answer that question. Why does Pawtucket have three of them? We only have one that's active. The other two don't do nothing, has never done nothing, doesn't care what's happening around the city. I don't know of anybody who can tell me they've been serviced by one of them if they call them for something, other than Melissa trying to service people and being ignored. So I don't even know why Pawtucket has three at larges. What, just to fill a seat to give the mayor more votes? Because it seems like all the at larges actually is always a puppet for the mayor. Everyone, except for Melissa. This is the first year that I've seen someone not be a puppet. And guess what? She's being blackballed. Oh, she's the odd one out. But ever since um, the at large that I've been involved in politics and doing public input, everyone who sat in at large seat was put there by the mayor and is a puppet to the mayor until now, which is why he fought so hard for that seat yesterday. Then I'm going to say it again. He was the candidate yesterday, not Marlena. He
Right.
won that seat
But she's
yesterday.
gonna
That
work.
vote belongs to
She's
him. That vote belongs
she
to him.
she's going to work hard because there's going to be a lot of questions about how she votes. I mean, the eyes will be on her, eyes for Pawtucket, eyes, from Phelan. We're going to be watching just to see, what what exactly is it besides the dog park that she's going to be able to bring forward or help our community
And
with.
like Cameron just said, nobody knew Marlena. Cameron, I'm gonna go a little further than that and add to what you just said. Marlena doesn't know anything about the city either or that district. She just got back from somewhere. I don't know. You know what I mean? People went to high school with her, but that was about it. She left and now she's back. And that's great. I'm glad that she's back. But you can't just vote for her because you went to school with her. Because if nobody knows
Right.
her now, right? She doesn't know anybody either. Like, you don't know what the concerns are. If all she wants to do, because she's a dog lover, she was going to run for city council. She sounds like one of those people that's just running because they want something for them, right? I want a farm. I want a dog park. I want a pool. Uh, they want this one little thing, right? So they run for council to get it, right? You've never seen her at a council meeting doing public input asking for a dog park. Never
Right.
has she gone in there as a community citizen saying, hey, maybe we can use a dog park over in Fremont because I've got a puppy. Or did she get a petition signed by everyone who owns a puppy that would like a dog park over there in Fremont? Has she put in the work? Did you knock on doors to get a petition
Has she
signed that
questioned
everybody
the
wants a
rat
dog park?
situation? Has she
No, she wouldn't.
questioned
She
the
wouldn't.
rat
She wouldn't get
situation?
into a debate. She wouldn't accept a debate between her and Patricia. She called it drama, but it's because she doesn't know what the issues are. She wouldn't know how to answer anything except for she wants a dog park. I'm not trying to be funny, guys, and I'm not trying to poke fun at her. She might turn out to be pretty good if she does her homework and gets to know the community and knows what the hell she's doing. But I don't understand. If I owned a house in Fairlawn, thank God I don't. With what's about to happen, I would I wouldn't be more concerned with a dog park adding value to my home. I'd be more concerned with the rat park that they're probably going to have to build to for all the rats that's going to come through the transfer station for and losing value on my home. Like, what are you going to have a dog park behind vets, and you're going to have the wild turkeys that live in a cemetery, and the dogs and the rats? Why don't you just name it something else? Wild animal park. I don't know, because it's going to attract a whole bunch of other things going on. And I hate to think of it that she's running just because she wants a dog park. It's like somebody else ran before because they wanted a freaking community garden. You know, luckily the person who wanted a community garden got to know the issues and pressed for other issues and supported other councilmen in their districts for things that were important to the community at large, the whole community, right? On
Right.
If she's running just because it's dog park, and I'll be damned if I start to hear, well, I got us a dog park. Well, I got us a dog park. We got a problem, guys. Y'all gonna settle for a dog park? I don't listen. Y'all can all have dog. Lynn, I know you have a dog. You love your dog like it's family. I'm not an animal lover, so I probably shouldn't be the right one to say this, but I want my kid to have an after school activity to do. Okay, a dog park isn't it.
All right. No,
Okay,
I
Tim,
100%
Tim
agree with you.
created Tim tried to push for something for children, and they gave him a water park in Gallagher Court. Well, okay, thank you very much. I'm happy for the kids in Gallagher Court. However, the kids in that neighborhood outside of Gallagher Court don't realize that they can use that because it's in the back of a housing complex. It's hidden, right? So maybe you should probably try building another one, maybe where everyone can see it and know that they can use it. You know what I mean? You don't have to walk through Gallagher Court to get to it. I mean, I can't. If we're going on too long with this, I don't want to bore anybody. We can come back
Yeah,
next week
absolutely.
and
We've been on.
have some more
I'm sh-
conversations. But I'm completely baffled over what people feel is important, and the way that people vote is it's becoming more and more disturbing and discouraging to those of us that know what we're voting for. um I wouldn't tell anybody not to vote, but if you don't know what you're doing, man, by all means stay home, because you're going in there voting just because the mayor told you your taxes are going to go up if you don't. And this is sadly that's what happened yesterday. Many people who don't speak English were told, if you don't go in there and vote this way, your taxes might go up. We heard somebody outside in a car calling over minorities and speaking different languages and telling them just that. Okay, that's crazy.
yeah.
That's crazy because everybody taxes goes up at some point. Don't bully somebody to make them think, oh, be careful how you're voting there. He's gonna find out. And what is he, Santa Claus now? He's gonna find out who's naughty or nice. You cannot bully people like that because they have a language barrier. You're taking advantage of a minority because they're gonna believe that if they don't vote for a certain person the mayor wants, their tax is gonna go up, and then everyone's taxes are gonna go up, and then they're gonna believe that it had something to do with their vote. Come on now, come on now. Uh-uh. But anyways, guys, don't forget to get your Eyes on Pawtucket t-shirts, because if you're watching this and if you're listening to this, your eyes are on Pawtucket too. And get your t-shirts. It does help with a lot of the different activities that Pat does throughout the city, throughout the state. As a matter of fact, go on the Coalition Talk Radio on Facebook. Click and share. Like the page, um, and share some of the content, or leave a comment. You got a question for what we're talking about? Leave us a comment underneath here. Inbox any one of us at any time. Thank you once again to the person who paid for half of that APRA. And thank you, Pat, for allowing us this opportunity. Congratulations to both the ladies that ran yesterday. Congratulations, in my eyes, you both won. You know, but unfortunately, the candidate who actually took that seat was the mayor. So now he holds more than two positions because he pays off other people too. Um, and yeah, and like I said, guys, go to the YouTube, the coalition YouTube page, and follow it. And we'll be on next week again. And hopefully next week we'll be able to invite a guest to come on and talk with us so we can give you guys some other ideas or other opinions on what we're talking about. And we can probably take questions live from an actual, person who cares and who has eyes on Pawtucket and has any questions for us. Lynn is a pro at the APRA um, process, and you can find out a lot of information if you want to through a lot of these requests. So thank you again, Lynn, for all that you do, all the work you do behind the scenes to be able to have these conversations. Thank you all for watching. I know that we had a pretty consistent number of watchers. A lot of you were silent. Thank you, Cameron, for interacting. And for those of you who didn't, we get it. We get it. We talk about some pretty sensitive stuff. Pawtucket is a very retaliating um, administration and police department. A lot of you don't want to, get any type of mess, but thank you for listening. For those of you who are watching the show after it airs, um, uh, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And I even want to say thank you to the city hall employees and city officials who watch this afterwards too. Um, you're still giving us a view, and now you know how open we are about addressing you. We give you guys the opportunity to answer us in private. Every time we mention someone on here, just know, guys, that we have tried our best to contact them privately. Okay, so by the time we're mentioning them here, it's because they gave up the opportunity to correct something in private, and now they're being embarrassed out loud for their lack of compassion for the community and their egos taking over and thinking that they don't have to answer. So, Lynn, any last thoughts before we go?
I would just like to thank everybody that is watching. We'll see you next week, and everything that we find out, we'll bring to your attention. And basically, you be the judge on what's going on in Pawtucket. Keep your eyes on Pawtucket, and we'll hopefully hook up with you again next week.
Yes, thank you again, Pat Ford. And I want to send a special thank you to our producer, Keshawn, always working hard behind the scenes to make sure that we bring all this information to you. And thank you again for all your hard work. And thank you guys again for keeping up with the Eyes on Pawtucket page. Please, guys, go like that. They've worked really hard on that. And t-shirts are available. Get your t-shirt, Eyes on Pawtucket. Post your pictures up in some of these comments if you do have a t-shirt. Wear your t-shirt, post your pictures up. Maybe we can have some kind of contest coming up shortly. I know that Lynn's looking for a title for the book, for the book that she's publishing with the APA request in it. So we might have a little bit of a contest going on for the title for the book. So keep that in mind. And if you have any suggestions, just shoot them over to her and via inbox or put them in the comment box. And once again, big thank you. Everybody stay safe. Keep your eyes on Pawtucket.
Good night.